Good morning, televiewers of my Media Prime Television. You're on to your favorite bilingual program, The Brief, which is dedicated to the review of striking headlines in the papers. On today's edition of the program, the newspapers are focusing on the storming session at the National Assembly in Yaoundé yesterday, where our session was interrupted by MPs who were claiming that the bill on orientation of the budget of the country for 2023, or the document was handed to them very late and they didn't have enough time to read through the documents. We are equally to MPs of the ruling CPDM party joined their peers of the opposition party to block or to protest against what I just told you, talking about the orientation of the budget. And the Konsamba Bafusam electricity line is now operational. The Minister of Water and Energy Resources, Gaston Elundu Somba, was in the West region yesterday to inaugurate that main electricity line that will help reduce power outages in the west, center, littoral, southwest, northwest regions of the country. We shall tell you more, or we shall bring the report of our correspondent in the west region of the country, who was with the Minister of Water and Energy Resources yesterday. Gwaldys Bomotonguina is here. Let's find out what she gathered for us in the French language newspapers. Bonjour Gwaldys.
Bonjour Lasha. Bonjour à vous, fidèles téléspectateurs, et merci de nous retrouver aussi nombreux pour cette autre édition de Brief, votre émission bilingue de revue de presse. Alors ce matin, nous allons débuter avec le journal Le Messager. Le journal Le Messager qui nous parle, lui, en grand titre de hold-up foncier au Cameroun. En effet, le carrefour de la mafia d'Ita, c'est du moins le grand titre du Messager ce matin, malgré la décision du tribunal administratif annulant le bail amphithéotique accordé à l'enseigne française. Ngongor, Ayem Moguer et Séraphin Fouda sont donc soupçonnés d'avoir usé de leurs fonctions pour un passage en force. Les détails sont donc en page 4 du Messager ce matin. Assemblée nationale, le dictat du RDPC sur le DOP. Les détails sont donc en page 2 du Messager ce matin. En page 11, le journal nous parle de la CAN féminine 2022. Tolérance zéro pour les lionnes indomptables. Nous restons toujours dans le Messager à sa page 6 et 7. Le journal nous parle de préservation de la biodiversité, visite guidée des forces sacrées de l'Ouest. Comment les peuples autochtones préservent-ils leurs identités culturelles malgré l'exploitation illégale? Les détails sont donc effectivement en page 6 et 7 du Messager ce matin. Nous poursuivons, mesdames, messieurs, avec l'info à chaud. L'info à chaud qui nous parle, lui, en grand titre de l'inauguration du centre commercial de Yaoundé, Place to Be, c'est du moins ce qu'a intitulé l'info à chaud ce matin. Les détails sont donc en page 3 de ce journal. En page 4, le journal nous parle de remise d'attestation du centre IAI de Balmayo, Françoise Foning inaugurée. Les détails sont donc effectivement en page 4 de l'info à chaud ce matin. En page 6, le journal nous parle de Bogo, le Lamido maire est donc décédé. Nous restons toujours dans le même journal, l'info à chaud, qui nous parle donc à sa page 2 de l'Assemblée nationale. L'opposition au Cameroun qui se réveille. C'est du moins l'intitulé que nous présente aujourd'hui chez l'info à chaud à sa page 2. Nous poursuivons avec le journal Le Jour qui nous parle lui en gros titre de vie chère au Cameroun, le quotidien des familles étranglées. Les détails sont donc en page 2 et 3 du jour ce matin. En page 4, le journal nous parle de l'Assemblée nationale, l'opposition qui s'insurge donc contre le dépôt tardif des textes. En page 7, le jour nous parle d'entreprise au Cameroun, le personnel de Mad Génie en grève massive de blé en Afrique. Nous poursuivons, mesdames, messieurs, avec le soir Tri Hebdo. Le soir Tri Hebdo nous parle donc, lui, en grand titre de PMEESA, un secteur en plein essor. C'est du moins ce que nous révèle le soir ce matin à sa première page, à la première page de son édition. Nous restons toujours dans le soir. Le soir nous parle de CNPS, Afrique, Sigbank, collaboration fructueuse. Les détails sont donc en page 6 du journal Le Soir Tri Hebdo ce matin. Nous poursuivons, mesdames, messieurs, avec le journal indépendant qui nous parle de Konsamba à Bafoussam, la ligne électrique sous tension. Les détails sont donc en page 3 du journal L'Indépendant ce matin. Alternance dans le MRC, donc qui fait donc chavirer Maurice Kamto. Les détails sont en page 4 du journal L'Indépendant quotidien ce matin. À sa page 10, le journal nous parle de Cannes 2023. Les raisons donc d'un report. Nous poursuivons toujours dans ce même journal L'Indépendant qui nous parle donc lui de subventions de l'État à la FECAFOOT, 560 millions de francs CFA perdus dans la nature, puisque le président de la FECAFOOT, Samuel Etofis, dément avoir reçu ces 560 millions de francs CFA. Les détails sont donc en page 5 du journal L'Indépendant ce matin. Mesdames, Messieurs, voilà tout pour vos titres pour ce jour en langue française. Place à la découverte des titres en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Gwaldys. Bomotonguina. Let's kickstart this morning with the Lone English Daily, the Guardian Post newspaper. The Guardian Post this morning is focusing on climate change, what experts are saying will happen in Cameroon. Experts, according to the paper, sounds warning or alarm on impending floods, landslides, severe cold weather nationwide. The paper tells us further that the Deputy Director General of the National Observatory on Climate Change, FOGAP, Patrick Mboma, has sounded an alarm on impending floods, landslides, and more severe cold weather in Cameroon. These severe weather changes, according to the paper, linked to climate change, he says, might hit several parts of the country in the weeks ahead. The paper tells us further that he alerted state authorities in particular and the population in general on what could be difficult days ahead linked to severe weather across the national territory. You can read more on the revelation that was made Sunday, June 3, 2022 by the head of that institution, as earlier mentioned. It was during an interview, like I mentioned, that was granted to CRTV's flagship magazine program, Cameroon Calling, and he said based on the forecast reports, rains might be more severe in the coming weeks and months. More details on page 3 of this edition of the National or the Lone English Daily, the Guardian Post. We continue to talk about other issues. This time around, what Trade Minister went through at the National Assembly recently. Trade Minister, according to the paper, on the fire for justifying cooking oil price hike. The Minister of Trade, Luke Magro Atangana, or Mbanga Atangana, has come under fire for attempting to justify the current vexing hike in the price of cooking oil in the country. The minister attempted the justification during an outing at the National Assembly on Friday, while insisting that the hike is not akin to Cameroon. The trade boss told parliamentarians that the price of a bottle of cooking oil in France is between 5 and 6 euros. That is about 3,900 francs CFA. And he was lambasted by lawmakers for attempting to justify the price hike in cooking oil in the country. More details on page 2 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. Let's take you to education to talk about the warning of Minister Pauline Nalova-Lyonga to his close collaborators of the region. Minister Professor Pauline Nalova-Lyonga warns against expelling students over non-payment of PTA levies. Some principals, according to the paper, have taken upon themselves to expel students from secondary schools, especially those who have not paid PTA levy. The minister's attention was drawn to those injustices being committed by principals, reasons why he has warned them not to expel students for non-payment of PTA levies in government secondary schools. We stay with the Guardian Post newspaper to talk about a woman who has reportedly collapsed in Yaoundé after losing 1.5 million francs CFA to pickpockets. You can read more on page 4 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. And still in the Guardian Post newspaper, Cameroon to secure 41 billion francs CFA loan to boost the agri sector around the country. And also in the paper, to fight money laundering, terrorism and financing, we are told by the paper that Cameroon institutes a digital financial transaction platform. You can read more on this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. On to municipal updates. Municipal Updates newspaper is interested in state corporations and the action of some state corporations heads. The paper tells us that tribal ethnic recruitments, appointments ruining national unity. Those are some of the actions being taken by heads of these corporations in the country, who have often recruited only people from their tribes as well as ethnic groups. And then this time around, the paper is warning that President Paul Biya will soon step in to adjust the situation, or to bring to book those who have been committing such crimes that are compromising national unity. And on the commentary section of Municipal Updates newspaper, imminent return of Ngonso and the route to peace in Bui division, the deity of the Nsor people that was stolen in 1903, is said to come back home from Germany. German authorities have revealed that they are now ready to hand over the stolen deity, or the deity of the Nsor people that was stolen in 1903. On to the national bilingual daily Cameroon Tribune. Cameroon Tribune is focusing on the heated debate at the National Assembly that was yesterday. The paper tells us further that after storming sessions in the morning that saw some opposition members of parliament oppose the session on the grounds that the document came late, the much awaited debate finally held, with government presenting projects projections for 2023-2025 period, and CFA 6,040 billion is being envisaged government resources for 2023 financial year. And like I told you in my introduction, the Bafoussam and Konsamba electricity line has finally been opened. The Minister of Water and Energy Resources was in the west region of the country to inaugurate that line that will help curb power outages in some regions of the country. Thank you for watching, televiewers on My Media Prime Television. We are back to continue with our discussions as usual. Like I just mentioned, Gaston Elundu Esomba was in the west region yesterday, and our correspondent Flo Kenye was with the minister. Let's find out what she gathered in the West region for us.
La ligne transport électricité 225 kV Konsamba Bafoussam est sous tension en charge. Cette opération de mise a été effectuée hier mardi pour clôturer une visite à l'ouest de 2 jours du ministre de l'Eau et de l'Énergie, entamée par Bafang puis Batunda. Et enfin, le CETIC de Djunan dans l'arrondissement de Bafoussam 3e, siège du poste 225 sur 90 kV de Bafoussam.
C'est vous qui avez accordé un espace foncier d'au moins une dizaine d'hectares pour pouvoir ériger le poste d'interconnexion de Bafoussam. Et je loue, le gouvernement loue votre acte de patriotisme dans la mesure où vous avez laissé que ces travaux se réalisent alors que les indemnisations ne vous ont pas été payées à cet instant précis.
Avec l'achèvement des travaux de construction de cette ligne électrique et du poste 225-90 kV Bafoussam, Gaston Elundu Esomba annonce la fin des problèmes liés à la baisse de tension dans la région de l'Ouest et une bonne partie du Nord-Ouest.
Avec la mise sous tension sur cette ligne, les problèmes de baisse de tension vont donc passer aux oubliettes. Vous allez désormais recevoir une tension conséquente pour vos besoins. La région du Nord-Ouest aussi va désormais recevoir une tension conséquente. Cette ligne interfère au niveau de l'organisation du service jusqu'au niveau de Limbé. Avec la mise en service de cette ligne et de ce poste, l'État va faire des économies de l'ordre de 2 milliards de francs CFA chaque mois sur la facture du combustible.
Clair-obscur cependant pour les populations riveraines de Djunan qui réclament toujours leur indemnisation, mais en plus l'extension du réseau électrique dans le village.
L'alimentation de cette localité en énergie électrique MT-BT triphasé à partir du poste de transformation 225 sur 90 kVA que nous allons visiter tout à l'heure. À ce sujet, elles m'ont remis pour transmission un exemplaire du rapport d'études technico-financières. Pour ce qui est de la deuxième doléance, elle est générale dans tout le département. Les populations impactées par ces travaux d'extension de transport de l'énergie électrique et expropriées pour cause d'utilité publique sont toujours en attente des frais d'indemnisation. Ces populations souhaitent qu'une attention particulière soit réservée à leurs doléances.
Pour une énième fois, le ministre de l'Eau et de l'Énergie a tenu le même discours, à savoir l'attente du décret du chef de l'État pour l'indemnisation des personnes concernées. Le dossier étant déjà à la primature, déclare-t-il. Pour combien de temps encore? Just wait and see.
Chérie, tu es notre seul et vrai bonheur.
Thank you, Flo King, for that beautiful report there coming from Bafoussam. That was it. Moni, welcome on the program.
Thank you so much, Kingsley. Good morning, Gwaldys. Thank you for having me on the brief this morning.
Yes, you read some of the headlines this morning talking about that good news for a vast majority of the population of the center, littoral, west, northwest, and southwest regions. They have often taken a bit when it comes to these power outages, and Gaston Elundu Esomba was there, and he says their problem is over. Do you believe the minister?
Kingsley, we just watched the video where we saw it being inaugurated, and we hope that as it has been inaugurated, it's going to work. You know, looking at it from this perspective, where the West region has had a 75 kilovolt, and now it's going to increase to 225. It's great news, especially if it really works, because that's like 3 times the present kilovolt that they have. And also considering the northwest and the southwest, who have been suffering a lot from this power outages ever since.
3 days, people go
exactly.
for 3 days without electricity.
Like we remember, I think that was in April this year, where there was a serious power outage problem in Boya, where we saw on social media where people would go to a place and gather just to have their phone charged and all that. So I believe that this is a good thing, and we hope that it lasts. Just like we listened from the report, the way the report ended, let's just wait and see. Yeah.
And the minister says so a good amount of money will be saved by government, money that was used.
On parle de 2 milliards, hein, 2 milliards de francs CFA par mois d'économie.
200 milliards ou 2 je ne sais pas.
2 milliards de francs CFA d'économie par mois.
I really don't know how to explain that, but if the states can actually benefit from 2 billion every
but there
month.
There are some centers that have been built where you have generators, where those generators have been fueled with petrol or whatever stuff to generate the kilowatt. So now what the minister is saying is that money that used to be, channeled to those other...
Exactly. So I think that, if the state benefits from as much as 2 billion monthly because of this initiative, then it's a great plus. It's a plus for
But we equally sell electricity to neighboring countries. The question many Cameroonians have often asked is, we are not self-sufficient, but we decide to take electricity and give to foreigners, and then we stay in darkness.
Kingsley, that's something that's common with Cameroon, because when you look at even other aspects, like let's look at agriculture, for example. We have like our banana plantations, we have the penjan, jombe, we call it poivre blanc, white pepper. We have nduti, or it's now ndawarati and all that.
The first grades are
sent abroad, and we are left with the chaff. So this is something that's very common, to Cameroon.
Okay.
Donc, parce véritablement que avec notre manière à nous de réaliser les projets au Cameroun, tout ce que le ministre a dit au jour d'aujourd'hui, effectivement, on va vivre ça au Cameroun.
C'est notre prière, Gwaldys. Ça, je ne peux vraiment pas dire à 100%.
Parce qu'on inaugure souvent les chantiers et après, on se rend compte que le travail n'a pas été bien fait.
Exactement.
Et à la fin, les populations souffrent toujours.
Exactement. Un exemple, Gwaldys, nos routes, par exemple.
Oui.
Nos routes, par exemple, chaque fois, on nous dit qu'on a inauguré la route de ceci, d'ici à là-bas et tout et tout. Et puis, ça fait 5 ans, 10 ans, les routes sont les mêmes et les populations souffrent. Et
de toute façon, let's watch and see.
Let's watch and see. Moni, let me take you to the National Assembly where it was hot with, I'm not talking about what happened yesterday, I'm talking about the Minister of Trade. The Minister of Trade was at the National Assembly and he tried to justify the price hike of cooking oil by linking it to what is happening in France. That in France, a bottle of cooking oil is sold at 3,900 francs. In Cameroon, we are crying, Cameroonians are crying of 1,500 as the price.
That's really unexpected of the Minister
Is he supposed to compare when we look at the salaries level?
Are we having the same
in France?
average of life?
You know,
that's what I'm
the
talking
living
about.
standard in France, what it takes in France. When you look at what is in Cameroon, should the minister be saying this in Parliament? Should he not even resign for not being able to, you know, to be able to regulate the prices of basic commodities in the country?
I don't know what Minister Magloire was thinking when he was giving, you know, this explanation and comparing Cameroon to France, because it really does not make sense. Because our living conditions, living standards in Cameroon compared to France
and
is
the minimum wage rate in Cameroon, Gwaldys, what is it? Is it
34,000.
34,000. It moved from 27 to 34,000.
Yes. So, you know,
and how much is an average rent
how much
a
do
room?
you pay rent? How much do you buy food?
And then you work for the 34,000 pay rent for 50,000.
Yeah.
How much do you pay rent? How much do you buy food? How much do you buy? In fact, in 35,000, what's the 10% of 35,000, Kingsley? I'll just like to know. It's about 3,250.
No, 3,500. 10%.
3,000, I think 400. I don't know, something like that. Okay, that's 10%. So you realize that from that 10% of 34,000, you have to take off 1,500 just for oil. You have rent, you have children to take care of, you have school fees to pay, you have a wife to take care of, you have, my God, I don't know. I think that he made the worst mistake.
There's another newspaper that talks about Cameroonians who have been strangled by hikers. I think Le Jour newspaper. Cameroonians are really living.
Exactly, especially with the price hikes. You know, on the other program yesterday, we were talking about price hikes in food items. And the question we were asking was, is that a main cause for some problems in marriages? So you see, you can determine from here, Kingsley.
But last time, this very minister told Cameroonians that each month the government spends 79 billion francs CFA to subsidize the prices for importation of basic commodities in the country.
The explanation he gave yesterday now explains everything, Kingsley. It explains everything. You know, just like we started by asking ourselves, is it really true from the report we just got that, you know, Cameroon will actually benefit from a 2 billion, you know, gain and all that? It's the same question. Yeah. It's the same question we're asking ourselves as far as this particular case too is concerned. Sometimes I have a feeling that our ministers are fond of, you know, saying things like they talk too much and do very little.
Do they really care? That's what Cameroonians are asking. Are they really there for the interest of the common man?
Or for their interest?
They are for their interest, of course, because if a minister can come and compare a country such as Cameroon to France,
Cameroonians that have never left Cameroon to go to France.
No, my problem is not even leaving Cameroon to go to France. We are talking about the standard of living.
Exactly, he is capable to buy a bottle of groundnut oil even for 10,000. He's capable of doing that. But what about the common Cameroonian? So
who's earning 35,000?
35,000. So you see, it's all about them.
Even earning
30,000, 25,000, yes. So you see, it's all about them. They care really very little about the masses.
Okay, let's talk education now, Moni. Some unscrupulous, let me put it like that in quote, principals have taken upon themselves to expel students from school, especially those that have not paid the PTA levy. When you were going to school, did you witness such cases, students being sent away for not paying PTA levies?
Yes, Kingsley, when I was in high school...
Not sending, I mean dismissed. When I say expel,
renvoyer.
Yes, renvoyer completely.
When I was in high school, I just know that they used to announce PTA meetings and all that, but I had never heard of students being dismissed. You know, sometimes when they come to class, like let me say the principal or whatever, he will tell you, make sure your parents come for PTA meetings. If they don't come, if they don't pay your PTA levy, I'm going to send you out of the class and all that. But it was never. It never got to the level of dismissing students, or it never even got to the level of actually sending the students out of the class. So I'm really surprised with this because it really does not make sense. We understand that the PTA levy...
in Cameroon, children does not having the right again to education?
That's really a question that I really don't know how to answer, because we know the PTA levy is meant for teachers who, you know, part-time teachers in government schools.
Some developmental projects like building
exactly. So
a structure.
If a student has already paid his normal fee and all that, and that's the only thing that's left, I think it's rather wrong, you know, to expel a student.
I quite remember, I'll keep using my own example. When I was in high school, I remember I paid my PTA in Opsit the day I came to collect my slip. And I've never been sent out of the class.
Of the class, yes. Talk less of being dismissed.
Yes. My principal will always come and talk, and then after some time, they will tell you have to come and pay. They allow you to study, write your exam, and then they keep your certificate. That's the reason why probably Professor Pauline Nalova-Lyonga is standing up to say these principals who have taken upon themselves to be expelling students from classroom, they should be careful.
They should really be careful, Kingsley. It's like things are really getting worse in some of our secondary schools, because I don't
especially
know what
in the cities.
In the cities, I don't know
a lot
what
of injustice being
committed. A lot of
committed.
Injustices, because there was a time. Let's talk about, for example, this common entrance thing in the west region, for example, where I have grown. You know, Kingsley. You know, when I had my common entrance, you know, I was unable to go to government school. Why? Because after the interview, you are asked to pay an extra 100,000 for your bench in Form 1. You know, after
DHS. Succeeding in the interview,
exactly.
Or you saying that you pass in list A, you pass in list A, you go for the interview, you succeed, your name is out.
Your name is out, but you are supposed to pay an extra 100,000 for your bench.
Wow.
Like after the interview, they might take like the first two who would enter, you know, Form 1 without any 100,000 and whatever.
And then the rest,
as from the third to the, you know, 100,000 francs for your bench, you pay.
So everybody pays. It means the other benches that have been paid for, where do they keep those benches?
That's the question, because in our secondary schools, there are a lot of things going on that I'm really happy that the Minister Minister Professor Nalova-Lyonga, you know, has pointed this one out, and I hope that she gets to point, you know, other things out as well.
Yeah, parce qu'effectivement, le problème de payer les places dans les établissements publics secondaires, c'est devenu, en fait, c'est la norme.
On ne parle même pas encore de payer les places. Ça, c'est la période. This is the period.
C'est la norme. Exactement comme tu dis, Gwaldys.
It's something that has been institutionalized. I mean, I don't even know how to put it. It is not lawful, but it's clear. It's a norm. And this is the period that principal will be running up and down, you know, trying to make parents have a headache. And this thing is not only with the principal. Everybody has their own small benefits, starting from the chief of the area right up to the delegate, you know, up to Yaoundé. I'm not sure. We are not accusing anybody.
C'est comment est-ce que les parents vont faire? Parce qu'on voit déjà d'abord le coût de la vie qui est devenu élevé au Cameroun. Et on voit au niveau de l'éducation, les frais de scolarité ne sont pas déjà régularisés. C'est chaque établissement qui fixe son montant.
Exactement.
Comment est-ce que les parents vont faire pour s'en sortir en 2022-2023 avec leurs enfants?
C'est vraiment une question difficile à répondre, Gwaldys, parce que c'est vrai que chaque fois on se plaint, on dit ok, les prix ont monté, la vie est difficile et tout, mais à la fin, on réussit quand même à payer les pensions de nos enfants, à faire ceci et cela.
Au prix de beaucoup de dettes.
En même temps. Donc je crois que bon. Je ne sais pas, Gwaldys, je crois que Dieu doit nous aider au Cameroun parce que ça devient grave de jour en jour.
À quoi nous servent donc les représentants de la population à l'Assemblée nationale si les populations doivent survivre au Cameroun? Parce qu'il faut le dire, les populations camerounaises survivent, elles ne vivent pas.
Gwaldys, on parlait tantôt du fait que ces sénateurs et tous ces gens-là qui vont à l'Assemblée générale, la majorité de ces gens ne s'inquiètent pas vraiment pour le common man. Ils s'inquiètent plus pour eux-mêmes. Donc, ce qui veut dire que les paysans vont continuer à pleurer, à souffrir pendant ce temps. Ceux-là sont bien, leurs enfants sont à l'étranger, leurs enfants sont dans des très bonnes écoles. Et nous sommes là.
Et parfois, ils ne payent même pas les pensions en même temps.
Exactement. Donc,
so we should blame the heads of their parties because, or the population, when they do this and when they come back with cube of sugar,
and they give to you
cube of savon, they give to you, you take
bread.
You take and eat and then you go.
Est-ce que ce n'est pas aussi une stratégie pour toujours rester dans les positions où elles sont? Maintenir peut-être les Camerounais dans une position de famine extrême, au point où lorsqu'on vient leur présenter des poissons et peut-être des sardines et qu'on sort des cubes, elles sont prêtes à tout vendre juste pour avoir de quoi manger là.
Une fois, Gwaldys, on parlait ici du fait que les Camerounais, la majorité des Camerounais ont cette habitude du laisser faire. Oui. Vous vous plaignez par derrière, vous bavardez, vous faites des choses, vous dites des choses, vous insultez ceux qui sont là-haut et tout. Et quand ces mêmes gens-là viennent avec ces choses, vous vous taisez, vous ne vous plaignez plus, vous acceptez ce qu'ils viennent vous donner. Et it will always continue like that.
Doesn't mean that it's a strategy for them to subdue the population.
They've already known that that's how the Cameroonian population, that's how the Cameroonian man is. So they
don't
know
you
how
think
to,
that
you know,
it is because they have made Cameroonians to be so miserable up to the level that's they can accept anything?
Yeah.
They deliberately, they systematically make Cameroonians to be desperate, so that when they come back now, even with a pinch of salt, they give you, just take.
Yes.
How should Cameroonians get out of the desperity, the desperate nature of
just
things
like I said,
in the country?
Kingsley, the truth is, Cameroonians being desperate, they know the right thing to do.
Why are they not doing it?
That's the problem.
Have they been bewitched?
They know the right things.
Have they been bewitched? When you say they know the right things and they are not doing it,
they are not
have
doing
Cameroonians
it.
been bewitched?
And that's why
a minister go and stand in parliament and say a bottle of oil in France is 3,900 francs.
He does not
And it's very
understand
why we are complaining in the country. It's normal.
It's normal for him and all. And the thing is, Cameroonians will complain about it.
Yeah.
Cameroonians will insult him for saying such a thing. But believe me, if the Minister of Trade stands before them and gives them anything, you know,
1,000,
they will
10,000.
not, none of them will open their mouths
Yeah.
to say, Mr. Minister, I'm not happy with what you said, or I'm not happy with the price hikes in food commodities and this and that. That is how Cameroonians are. They talk a lot behind, but when it comes to taking actions, they don't.
Yeah.
Well, Moni, this one caught my attention. This other headline. Most often women are always victims to these people. The Guardian Post this morning is telling us that in Yaoundé, a woman reportedly collapsed after losing 1.5 million francs CFA to pickpockets.
Wow. En même temps, je peux imaginer que Moni aussi sur le plateau, elle a collapsé.
It's a businesswoman.
Exactement. C'est pour ça que ça me
fait rire. She was going about, you know, carrying her duties with 1.5 million.
It's so heartbreaking.
Pickpockets
In this very difficult economy, Kingsley, it's really heartbreaking, and I'm laughing. Gwaldys and I were laughing because I've been a victim. You know,
I don't understand why Gwaldys was laughing.
I've been a victim.
They welcomed you to Douala.
They welcomed me to Douala, you know, and it was really so painful. So I can understand what this woman has gone through. 1.5 million. Like, my God, your capital
how
and
do
all
they
that.
do it? How do they do it?
You know, I have a feeling that these guys...
Sometimes, don't you think that it is also because women are careless?
Really?
Forgive me, women, if I'm targeting. Yes, they are not more careful. Let me say more careful than men. Let me just put it that way. Sometimes, don't you think that negligence and carelessness on the parts of women contributes to them losing money all the time? They are just careless. They don't care about what they have on them.
Kingsley, for what I know, I'm a woman as well.
But why do these guys why do they target women more than men?
Maybe because, you know, our physical strength is not the same. But I believe that a woman can be very careless, but when it comes to money, no, a woman is not careless. Yes, when it comes to money, a woman is not careless. So I just believe that most of the time their target is women, because women are kind of vulnerable, and then they are weak. For example, if a thief, like those guys, for example, if they in Yaoundé where I have been...
We're not talking about aggression. We are talking about just taking the money as if, you know, nothing happened. You are normal, you are moving normally, and they just pick the stuff.
That's why I said women are vulnerable. Sometimes it's just like you sit in a taxi and a guy is talking to you. Most of the time, a man will not really pay attention to that guy. But you see a woman, a passenger is talking to her, and she's actually talking with the passenger just because she wants to be kind of nice and whatever. But that guy is doing that, and he's doing his job. And you don't know. Yes. So that's where the vulnerability of women...
Don't you think that there's a way to go about this issue? When you have money on you, you have a way that you can keep the money off the hands of this guy. Maybe in a part of the body where if they want to touch it, you easily get it.
Which part of the body?
There are so many ways. One of the most utilized ways that I know, because most of my aunts are into business, that they do. I would not like to say it here because it will look like these guys will be listening probably. But most of the time,
other people.
Most of the time, you know, they put on trousers and then they put their money in it, and then they put on like a kaba. Something that, you know, before you ever lift up the kaba, before you put your hand in the pocket, before you do all of those things, she has felt it. But when you put
we are talking about 1.5 million, like.
But 1.5 million, no, like it's small money.
You know, it's small, but it's like this at least, you know.
Yes.
And even if you bend it, you want to put it in a jean, like really.
Like another way to Gwaldys, like my mother taught me that one. Each time she used to send my school fee, she would tell me, you know, no, my house rent when I was in Boya, since it was much money, she used to tell me, put a 100, like separate 100 francs, separate another 100,000 francs, separate another 100,000, separate another 100,000, separate 50,000, and put in different
places
parts of your body, in case
they
take one, the other one remains. So it was a good strategy.
Okay, I think that maybe women will take that as a cancer.
Exactly.
Yes, Monique, Municipal Updates newspaper this morning is blaming some states institution, or they call it parastatals, heads of this corporation, for practicing ethnic tribalism when it comes to recruitment in those institutions. And the paper is telling us that those acts by a certain individual has compromised national unity. People who decide to favor their tribesmen and women, you know, they are people from the same ethnic background.
Yeah. Kingsley, just like I'll say, it looks like everything that we're talking about today has to do with me directly, because I'm a perfect example, you know, of that. You know, the last institution where I was in, you know, you give in your best, you work, you like, gosh, I don't know, I'm not going to call the name of the institution, but you give in your best and all that. But you are in a place. They keep saying that there is no money to recruit people. But
you see
every
new
day
faces
in your
coming
newsroom, new faces coming who have been recruited. And when you read their names, there are names of the person, like names of the tribe of the person who is up there.
Okay.
And then when you even get into the office, for example, everywhere they speak the same mother tongue. Yeah,
That's nepotism.
Yeah, they speak the same mother tongue. Like you sometimes, you know, that's the first thing. And then the second one now, it's about.
Don't you
Well,
think
I'm going to say
those people were more qualified than yourself?
Oh no. No,
The
Kingsley.
people from the
That's
same tribe,
exactly,
that's the question.
That's exactly
people
why
from the same
it was
tribe
so
are
painful.
definitely more intelligent than people from other tribes in the country.
Kingsley, I'll tell you, the reason why it was even so painful was because those that they kept recruiting, you wonder which school they went to. Like, you wonder which school of journalism they went to. Okay. Like, somebody is unable to write a new script. Somebody is unable to do just a very simple thing. And it takes them very long before they ever start, you know, managing a script, not even writing a script, managing a script. But they have been recruited. Every month they receive a salary. But you are there because you are not from the same tribe with the boss who is high up there.
You are not even receiving any allowance.
You are not even receiving any allowance. And that goes before we even get into the francophone, you know, anglophone something. You know, I really don't want to talk about that one. But those are things that have really, you know, brought disunity in this nation, Cameroon. Because where I was, there has always been, you know, a demand for English journalists.
Yeah.
Okay. But every day they recruit French journalists.
Okay.
And they manage to transform them into English journalists.
They don't even transform them to English journalists. You, as an English journalist, you can do, for example, I used to do like 3 reports in a day. Yes. I would do 3 reports. Like, you go on the coverage, you come back, you do that in a day, and then you have to do other things. You have to supervise the news, you have to do this, you have to do that, and all that. Why?
No pay.
Because there is lack of English journalists, lack of English staff. But on a daily basis, in your newsroom, a new person comes in on the French desk who has just been recruited.
On a salary.
On a salary.
So,
and, you know,
and that did not end there. Municipal update is telling us that President Paul Biya will soon step in.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I can't wait for him to step in, Kingsley. Seriously, because I have suffered, you know, I have really suffered from it.
And you're just one out of the
many. I'm just one out of the many
thousand Cameroonians.
Exactly. I'm just one out of the many thousand Cameroonians who are experiencing it up till now. So if President Paul Biya can step in, even now, you know, it's really going to help a lot.
Like now, maintenant, aujourd'hui.
Aujourd'hui.
Oui.
Yes. Yeah.
You want a decree out today?
Today.
Ok, on va parler de crédit foncier au Cameroun. Le journal Le Messager nous déclare ce matin qu'il y a des hautes personnalités qui utilisent leurs fonctions, à l'instar de Ferdinand Congo, pour forcer leur chemin en ce qui concerne le foncier au Cameroun. Donc la mafia du foncier au Cameroun.
Moi, je ne comprends même pas pourquoi tous ces ministres ont besoin de faire la mafia. Comme tu dis.
Parce que pas moi qui le dis, c'est le messager qui le dit.
Comme le messager le dit. Parce que déjà, ces gens sont, c'est comme si ils sont nés dans ça. Ils sont nés dans le vol. Yeah, sorry to you know, to use this, but I don't know. Ils n'ont même plus besoin de faire la mafia. Parce que c'est quelque chose, c'est comme un style de vie pour ces gens. Donc, pour moi, ça ne me surprend pas.
And it's a very big problem in Cameroon, as over 80% of court cases that we have today are land-related cases in the country.
You know, this
when we have ministers and a high personality of states
taking people lands.
Yes,
because they are authorities.
Exactly, they take your land. Like you don't even have a choice. You don't have a say.
Where will you report to?
Where will you report to? That's the question.
When those in charge, the secretary, le secrétaire général,
Minister of State.
Exactly.
Donc, tu vas aller vers qui?
Who can handle such a case for you? Nobody. So just like we said, these guys, do not
So
really
it means
care
Cameroon
for
is
the
a
masses.
jungle. It has become a jungle.
Yeah,
a
survival
country
of the
with
fittest.
no justice.
No justice. It's survival of the fittest in Cameroon because there is nothing you can do. Who do you talk to help you in such a case? How do you fight such a person, such a personality? You can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You can't. So.
Donc à la fin les Camerounais
But
sont
the population,
lésés.
the people are sovereign and they are more powerful than individuals. Are you saying that if the people rise up against such individuals, they cannot be sacked by President Paul Biya?
They should have risen up a long time ago, but just like we would always say, there are always black legs in all of these things because some people will decide to rise up, against something. It's like, let me use the example of the Northwest and the Southwest regions. When this crisis all started, at some point, there was a particular year, I don't remember if it's 2018 or 2019, when the crisis was really hot, especially in the Northwest region, and then those from the Southwest region started, coming against those from the Northwest. Okay,
it's still happening.
Yes, and it's still happening. They started talking against those from the Northwest, like this and that. So that's a form of that's why some things cannot change, because the moment you decide to fight something, some other person who should be fighting with you will go and betray the group. So. That's it.
We have basically 2 minutes here, but we will not go without talking about the heated debate at the National Assembly yesterday that was on budgetary orientation. And of course, MPs, including those of the ruling CPDM party, they blocked session yesterday. And some of them argued, especially MPs of the opposition, that the document on budgetary orientation was not given to them in time. The reason why they could not accept such injustice on them.
Kingsley, if those from the CPDM did not actually join the opposition parties, to talk against this budget that came late, I would have said maybe it's another form of,
But don't you think that they were just playing to the gallery to blindfold public opinion about what is happening? Because at the end of the day, what had to happen actually happened.
That could be another reason. That could be another reason. But I was surprised to hear that they joined the other people, because if they had not joined, it would have made it easy for me. I would have just known that okay, yeah, they are at it again. But now they joined, and really,
is it not still Cameroonians that they are trying to fool at the end of the day?
Gladys.
Because at the end of the day,
they came out with a roadmap. We are talking about 6,040 billion that is being envisaged for government resources for 2023 financial year. That's government resources. Where they were arguing that they didn't have enough time to really study the document and see if what they are talking about was
my question is, who is in charge of getting the document ready? Who is in charge of making sure that they have the documents on time? That's the question I'm asking myself. So the problem they should tackle it from that direction. They should tackle it from that direction, and then.
Does it really reflect the common man's need when we are talking about the budget? Does it really address what the common man needs? Whether there is going to be public investment, they are going to carry out things that would really have an impact on the common man.
We keep talking about the same things, just like Gladys was saying earlier on. At the end of the day, she was asking me the question to know if is it possible that they can actually come up with a project and then they finish the project on time and whatever. Our ministers, in fact, those who are up there, they have the tendency of always giving very sweet promises, calling very exorbitant amounts. Like you even get confused. You're like, this kind of amounts, does it really exist, and all that? But at the end of the day, they do nothing.
Okay, thank you, Moni.
Yes.
Thank you. That's it, televiewers. Thank you so much for watching this edition of the program, which was produced for us by Christain, Tebong. We were Gwaldys, Bomotonguina, with the help of Emanuela Moni, who was with us in the studio for the 1 hour that we spent together. Hopefully we'll be with you tomorrow for yet another edition of what our papers in Cameroon must have carried. Do have a great day. Bye-bye.